Hi, do you really need a godfather in your corporate career in order to move up the hierarchy? There is a divergence in terms of the opinions people have on this said matter. There are some who will say that yes, a godfather is an absolute must when it comes to corporate progression, and there are people who've authored books like You Don't Need a Godfather, which underscore the fact that all this one need is just tenacity of purpose and a lot of hard work to move up the corporate world. My limited submission on this is that the path to grow in the corporate world becomes far easier in case you spotted a godfather early on in your career. History is replete with such examples. So if you look at godfather in the true sense of the word, whenever a child is born in the Christian community, a godfather is assigned to him or her who ensures that this child has got no issues in his or her upbringing, and the godfather in general will ensure the well-being of such a child. In corporate world, take the example of Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee, a young chartered accountant who, after completing his articleship from SB Lemoria and Company and then industrial training from Britannia, had rejoined SB Lemoria in the audit firm function and then joined Tata Steel as a young officer. He caught the attention of Mr. Rushad Hussain, who was the ED Finance for Tata Steel from the early 90s through the 2000s. A couple of proposals in which Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee got an opportunity to work with Ishaq Hussain. He simply impressed him like anything. Mr. Ishaq Hussain really was in awe of this young man's grit and determination. So subsequently, as Mr. Ishaq Hussain moved from Tata Steel to Tata Sons, he took Kaushik Chatterjee along with him. So Kaushik Chatterjee at that young age got opportunity to work on a slew of investment proposals, whether it is the listing of Tata Communications on NYSE or the Tata Sky joint venture, all because he was the confidant of Mr. Ishaq Hussain, who was on the Tata Sons board. So subsequently, in his early 30s, Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee went back to Tata Steel as ED Finance or VP Finance. I mean, the nomenclature I am not very sure, but the idea is that he was then rubbing shoulders with the likes of a B. Muthuraman, who was in their 60s and who had joined Tata Steel almost at the same time when Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee was born. That's the magic of a godfather. And another example is the classic Miss Chanda Kochar, Shikha Sharma and KV Kamath story that keeps doing the rounds in corporate world. It is a known fact that Miss Chanda Kochar was nominated by Mr. KV Kamath as his successor primarily because of her great ability to impress him with her work, to the extent that when Ms. Chanda Kochar came back to ICICI Bank after a maternity leave in the mid-90s, Mr. KV Kamath put her in charge of the western branch of the company, where they were working on an innovative PLR-linked product in terms of the lending space. It is very evident that Ms. Shikha Sharma was also eyeing this top spot at ICICI Bank. But when it eventually went to Chanda Kochar, she moved on to Axis Bank. So what really was that magic wand which was in the hands of Chanda Kochar that made KV Kamath prefer her over everyone else? It was her ability to impress him with her work. And what I hear in corporate circles is that in any meeting when Mr. KV Kamath would have put up some ambitious proposals and everyone would have said, no, this is not possible, so Chanda Kochar, with all her energy and determination, stood up and said, yes sir, this is possible, let's look at the numbers. If we do this, then this and this and this. That's how you really get into the good books of a godfather. You really can't flatter a godfather and move your way up the corporate world. That is not something which is the objective of this short story of mine, but rather a godfather will be someone who will then ensure that you do not get lost in the corporate hierarchy, in those unfair bell curves and career progression paths which are set out with the HR, which are meant to frustrate. A Godfather will ensure that if you got real talent, it will be acknowledged across the company. You will get opportunities to express your talent at the right frontier and move up much faster than your peers. That's the power of a Godfather. So friends, make sure that you actually get a Godfather in whichever job you get. I know a close friend of mine who, after doing his chartered accountancy from Jaipur, had joined the Goldman Sachs back office in Bangalore, and eventually he struck a very good rapport with his boss, and boss was a high flyer. So when boss put in his papers at Goldman and wanted to move to a competitor, and he was asked that what really makes you move, he said, I want to move to the front end equity research roles. And then Goldman actually gave him that role. This particular friend of mine was his favorite, so actually moved along with the boss, and today heads APAC for equity research for that particular company. So the power of a boss really cannot be underestimated. In another instance, boss jumped jobs 3 times, and here was Pankaj, who also got 3 awesome breaks in the career, because boss simply had got so used to Pankaj taking all the calculations under him. So how do you make sure that the boss grows immensely dependent on you? Weekends, you say, boss, you are not going to touch the BlackBerry. I am here. You please go and enjoy your vacations with your family. Friday night, boss says, oh, this is so important. Monday morning, I have got this urgent deliverable which needs to be presented to the CFO. And you say, sir, मैं हूँ ना, आप आगे जाइए. You move on to your vacations. So through work, which is immaculate, which is selfless, you can actually create dependence in the minds of a boss. You will really need a Godfather. You've seen that movie Ashiki 2. So Arohi Shikre would have, what was she? She was an awesome singer, but circumstances were such that she was actually singing in a bar. And it was Rahul Jaikar who spotted her talent and ensured that she cut through the big bad world and moved up so fast to become a superstar. Do you have a Rahul Jaikar in your life in case you have the talent of an Arohi Shikre? That, my friends, is a question that I will leave you to ponder upon. Godfathers are eventually human beings, and to win a special place in their heart requires a unique blend of hard work, dedication, sincerity, and values. You will really never be able to flatter your way up the hierarchy. Those are very limited instances, but this approach which I advocate, so it's very important that you strike a very good rapport with whichever boss you have, even if that means going the extra mile. But yes, some bosses are going to be crooked, some bosses are going to be scoundrels. So in that case, that's just destiny and you need to move on. You will also need to ensure that you invest in the right horses. So friends, I will leave you on this Monday morning with this thought. Please search for a Godfather in your corporate world. It just makes that life much more easier. Thank you.